What's up, guys? So I've been talking a lot about fasting, especially on Instagram, where I've gotten a lot of traction with my post about my 6 day fast. A lot of interesting discussion came out of that, but also on here. Anyway, I've been talking a lot about fasting, but I realized I've been talking a lot about what you might call in-game content, like how fasting is once you practice at it for years and you're really experienced with it. I've been kind of pushing the envelope in terms of strength and training while fasted, as well as like duration of fasts. Like I said, my 6 day fast went really well. But what I realized is this may not be all that relatable to people who are just thinking about getting started with fasting, right? That's not going to give you a realistic idea of what to expect when you first start. You might not get the same experience that you hear me talking about now and think that fasting doesn't work for you. And that's probably not going to be the case because it was definitely a lot different for me when I first started. So, what I'm going to do today is just share my first experiences with fasting to give you something that you can relate to and hopefully let you see what the progression is going to look like. I'll contrast my experience with it now to what it was like when I first started and then get into a little bit of discussion later. So I first got started with fasting around, it was many moons ago, maybe 2011, I think, 2010, 11, something like that. I've heard about it from Martin Berkin's blog Lean Gains. If you recognize that name, you probably need to start taking your mobility seriously. That was an old age joke. Anyway, so that was the 16/8 fast length. That's where that started. And so I started doing 16/8, and to be honest, the first day was rough. Like I felt terrible going. I'd always eaten breakfast and lunch and everything, so going without that felt pretty miserable. Like I only had to not eat till like 4 or so, but it was still rough. First day, first 2 days, pretty rough. After about 2 weeks, though, I noticed like it suddenly got a lot easier, and then after that, I really liked it. It felt like it was going to be the secret to easy fat loss because you go through all you have to do is get through the day without eating and then you get to eat feels like you get to eat as much as you want and you're still losing fat and you're staying lean. That's it feels really cool. Like you think that's going to be your secret to fat loss. A lot of people just fall in love with it in that period. Some people still think it's the secret to easy fat loss to this day, though. Fellow who thinks he's Batman keeps pushing that. But anyway, what I found, as is often the case, eventually you adapt to the point where you can now pretty easily eat your entire calories for the day in that 8 hour window very easily and very easily go over, quite frankly, unless you're restricting in some other way. So it's not really the be all end all secret to easy fat loss. You still are going to either have to just auto regulate how much you're eating or track calories or something like that in addition to fasting. Not that it's not useful. It can still be useful to have that compressed eating window. And it's really helpful to be able to skip eating when it's not convenient. You're on a long drive, you're working, you're busy, just don't eat. Cool. So for that reason, stuff like 16/8, I still would just randomly do just because it was convenient, right? It was just convenient for my life. So I do it. And that's helpful. That's really good. But it was not the easy leanness be all end all secret, right? So fast forward to like what, probably 2020 or not 22, 2012. That was when I first tried like multi-day extended fast. I went with a 48-hour fast, so got into trying it. First, during the day it was fine because I'm used to 16-hour fast, so obviously that's no problem. Evening kind of sucked because I'm used to eating, so I want to eat during the evening, and that obviously wasn't that fun not to eat dinner. But where it really started to suck was bedtime. I had a lot of trouble getting to sleep, just could not get to sleep. I probably nodded off for like 30 minutes here and there a couple times, but it was not a nice night. I was mostly just up in bed, tossing and turning all night. So eventually came to be about 4 a.m. I just decided, you know what, I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight. I'm just going to get up and go hiking. I'm not sure why I decided to do that, but it was a good idea. It was cool. I went to the local hiking trail, real nice. It was misty and all, which was very cool. That was when I discovered one of the first unique benefits of extended fast. So it's kind of more just interesting these days. Um, I noticed I could smell rabbits before I'd see them, which doesn't normally happen. So I noticed my sense of smell was a little bit enhanced, and I noticed that to this day. I just smell things a little bit better. I mean, not that much practical benefit in this day and age when we don't have to go hunting or anything, but it's cool. It's cool to know it's there. Speaking of animals, I ended up in a standoff with a possible bear for about for a good little while. It was kind of early light was starting to come through a little bit, and that weird gray phase where everything looks kind of weird. There's lots of mist. So yeah, I thought it was a rock, but every time I would be confident it was a rock, it would start to move in that mist and weird shifting light. So I just stayed in a little standoff with this possible rock bear for about 5 minutes until it got light enough that I could conclusively see it was not a bear. So anyway, I didn't get eaten by a bear, and I finished the hike and went on home, went about my day. And it wasn't great, but I got through. I got through it. Ended up the way I'd set it up. That night I broke the fast around 48 hours, and next day I went to the gym. By the way, I didn't lift at all during that first 48-hour fast. But yeah, I got to the gym and I was going to go bench press, right? And I was so weak. I performed much worse than I was expecting to, and that really scared me because all this fear mongering around fasting. You think you're going to go catabolic, you're going to lose muscle tissue and all that. So I thought I'd lost muscle. I got scared of it. To be honest with you, I that scared me enough and deterred me enough that I didn't try extended fast again for another 10 years. Yeah. So that's kind of why I'm making this video, because I don't want an experience like that to happen to you. I mean, it's a cool tool. I don't want you guys to get scared off of it and have that happen to you. So anyway, I didn't start back trying extended fast again until like 2022. Started getting back into it then. Liked it a little bit more. And then every year since then, it's been a major part of my cutting regimen after my bulk for the year, right? So contrast that experience with what I just did 2 days ago. It was just completely. I didn't really plan it. I just got to 5 o'clock. I hadn't eaten anything all day because I was busy. I was like, yeah, what the hell? I didn't work out today. I don't need to eat anything. Let me just extend this out. So I just went ahead and didn't eat anything. Just went to bed, no problem. Fell asleep, no problem. Woke up and everything. Anyway, the next morning I was cooking breakfast for the kids, and their toddlers are really cute. They're like hobbits, right? Which is great because they're out on the trail singing and it's whimsical and everything. But they're also like hobbits in that they're gonna want breakfast, second breakfast, elevensies. So I'm cook for them for a while anyway. It's already like 9 or something. I'm cooking them like 11s or like third breakfast or whatever, and I'm about to go to eat something, and I realize, oh yeah, I'm fasting. So I'd completely forgotten about that I was even fasting at all. Um, and and anyway, went on, had my workout. That went very well. Everything went fine. Broke fast, no problem, right? So I just wanted to share that little contrast. Both roughly 48. This was more like 44-hour fast, but it ended up being, but whatever. Like, so I just wanted to contrast, like, first starting into it. 48-hour fast is absolutely miserable. Can't sleep. It sucks. It's awful. Everything's bad. I get like super weak afterward. Even not even during the fast, like a day after the fast, I'm super weak. And now like I just spontaneously decide to do it. It's not hard. I forget I'm doing it halfway through. I'm, you know, working out. Performance is great. Everything's fine. And I'm not even that. I'm not even caring that much about fat loss at this point, to be honest. I've gotten to the point in my cuts where it's kind of this awkward stage that I get to where I start to lose fat mostly in my legs, and that really demoralizes me because it's pointless. I mean, it is. I guess it looks cool. I'm getting like more definition in my legs. A lot of the reverse Nordics, I think not the reverse. Sorry, the sissy squats are really bringing out this area a lot. I'm getting more detail than I've ever had, but ultimately, by the way, Rascal Apparel shorts or whatever. Yeah, just go ahead and get those. They'll be in the description. I mean, I guess it looks cool when I'm wearing shorts and I actually like bother to pose, but I mean nothing like that. I mean, like arms versus legs. Do you really care what this looks like? I mean, not really. And so anyway, like my legs are looking leaner, but like that's kind of pointless because I don't care what my legs look like because I don't usually wear shorts. Whereas at the same time, I get the I really get the urge to bulk. Usually, like it's been all cutting season. I've been learning a lot of cool stuff, and I really want to implement all this stuff and like want to build muscle, get something out of it. Like the other day, like or not the other day, like recently. Go watch my tricep video about the how I only grew the long head, so it looks kind of cool from the side, but it doesn't really look good from the front. Anyway, I started switching to JM press to try to emphasize try to emphasize this head. Guess what? That's where I feel all the soreness now. So now I want to rush into it so I can, do my bulk, and I'm going to get all big on this side. So I'll finally look big like from the front and not just have my, like kind of skinny here, sleeper build look, right? Anyway, yeah, it's cool. I'm not even feeling like long head tricep soreness, but I'm actually sore here, so that's sick, right? Anyway, right? So like, who cares about lean legs? It's pointless. It's demoralizing. But I still like just still chill for me to just like whatever. I'm do a 40-hour fast. I don't even care. So that was a long tangent to yeah. I didn't need to go that long. Anyway, point of all that being, like, it gets vastly, vastly easier, right? It gets from something that sucks that you just really have to grind out and just make yourself do, and you're like second guessing yourself the whole time and feeling like this is scary. What if I'm doing something wrong? What if I'm damaging myself? What if this is bad? I can't sleep. This sucks. To like just something you just kind of casually do because you can. Like, why not? Um, so I hope that like helps the people who might be might have one bad experience with it and not want to go through with it anymore. And a little bit more on that note. So I talked about strength loss, right? Even after eating something, I still was weak as a kitten after my first fast. Well, that has gone away. It took a while. Like definitely the first when I first got back into it in like 2022, I was still like notably weak during my fast. Maybe a little bit after, but the next year, starting like kind of 2023, my strength levels kind of caught up to where they were supposed to be. And I started to surprise myself, honestly, with how good my performance was while completely fasted. And then, I mean, this year, 2024, my performance is caught up right where it should be with even being fully fed. Like most recently in my 6 day fast, I fasted like 6 days, had great workouts pretty much every day. I mean, I did, I know, I forget exactly what it was, but I got some kind of a sissy squat rep PR. I got rep PRs on my freestanding handstand push-ups, or not freestanding. Sorry, not freestanding. My decline handstand push-ups with some band assistance, but still rep PRs at that assistance level. And then to cap it all off, 6 days of fasting, I've managed to pull 500 for three one-handed with a strap, obviously, but still, that's pretty good performance for not having eaten for 6 days. So, bottom line, it takes a good bit of time to adapt to fasting to where you can perform at the same level that you would um, fed, but you do get there, and that certainly indicates that you're not losing any muscle. By the way, on that note, everyone's terrified of muscle loss, but that's really an overblown fear. Your body is not going to break down more than just whatever tiny bit it needs to for various reasons, because fat is just a better store of energy. I've tried to make that point, and people push back on me so hard. So I posted the results of my 6 day fast on Instagram. It gave everybody the figures. I started out at about 216 body weight. During the fast, dropped down to 206, and then immediately after refeeding, stabilized to like 210. And I stayed there, no problem, right? Nobody wanted to believe that I lost 6 pounds of fat in 6 days. Everyone's trying. To this day, I have people commenting because the reel went fairly viral. Like, people are to this day like commenting, "You didn't lose fat. You just lost water. You just lost glycogen." It's like you just lost muscle. Like, okay, you need a certain amount of calories every day. Your body cannot just sustain itself on nothing. We're not reptiles. We don't have a hibernation mode we can go into like a reptile or a bear or something, right? Need a certain number of calories every day, and you just um, people don't realize how like inadequate any source of energy is for that other than fat, right? I mean, glycogen will work, but you only have a limited amount in your body, usually not enough for an entire day, even. That's going to get burned through real quick. And the thing about burning muscle, I mean, I guess in theory you could, but the problem is muscle is not energy dense per weight. So you would have to lose a ton of actual muscle tissue to actually make up your energy demands. Like I calculated it out for that day. I would need to have lost, or for that week rather, for 6 days rather, I would have needed to lose roughly 30 pounds of muscle if I was going to use muscle to supply my energy demands. 30 pounds, whereas 6 pounds of fat will do the trick, and that is why your body prioritizes using fat because it works, right? You don't want to have to. I don't even know. I don't even know if it's physically possible for you to lose 30 pounds of muscle in 6 days. Probably not. Um, Probably not. It's certainly not something your body wants to do. So, is it going to touch your muscle? No. It's going to just go with what actually works, which is fat. You have to go without eating 6 days, you lose 6 pounds of fat. No muss, no problem, no issues. There you go. I think once your body gets to the point where it actually has to start losing muscle, that's where you quite quickly go into a cascading failure, and you're not long for this world because that's not a system that works very well, right? So anyway, but yeah, people just won't believe that, and you show them the math, they don't believe it. They'd rather believe in kind of magical thinking, like just thinking that doesn't make sense, that doesn't adhere to the laws of physics as they're currently known, than believe that you lost fat by fasting. These people are just so conditioned to think that anything outside of mainstream dietary strategies don't work. And I get it. There's a bunch of quacks out there. There's a bunch of weird stuff. But I mean, you got to think about this stuff. And if it's not physically possible, you probably shouldn't be using that as your explanation. You're not losing water in a 6 day fast. Or I mean, I'm sure you lose some water, but you can't burn it for energy. Something's being burned for energy, and I mean, there's only one substrate that makes sense to account for 6 pounds lost in 6 days. That's fat. Okay, anything else, it's going to require more overall body mass loss, right? Anyway, I hope this was interesting to you guys. Um, just wanted to share something that can help you kind of bridge the gap between maybe you're interested in fasting, or maybe you've had an early experience that wasn't so good, and getting to where it's the wonderful tool that it can be, because it can be an awesome tool. Like nothing, I would say there's really no fat loss method that gives you more fat loss for each unit of suffering once you get used to it. I'm not saying it doesn't suck at all, but it sucks in, for me personally, roughly about as much as 1,000 calorie a day deficit, which would give me like 2 pounds of fat lost in 2 weeks. Roughly, roughly the same level of suffering can get me like twice that, right? Or more than twice. That's what I say, twice that, like more than twice that in 1 week, right? Uh, I'm doing all this math in here. I'm bad at math, right? Whatever. Okay. Anyway, you get the idea. It just like it bottoms out. Your hormones suppress your appetite for whatever reason. I'm not going to get into like all the science behind it, because I'm not looking inside to see exactly what's happening. Who knows why it feels the way it does? But your hunger, your cravings, and all get suppressed to a certain extent, and it really isn't that bad. But like I say, you definitely have to put in some work adapting to it to get it from that early stage where it does actually kind of suck a lot to that later stage where it's a lot more pleasant. There's been a lot of demand for it, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and put in some work on an ebook. I've been kind of I've had it on the back burner. I'm trying to write an ebook on fat loss. It's going to include fasting strategy as well as what to eat to make fat loss the easiest, as well as some mental strategies that I think are overlooked that can make it just a lot more sustainable. It's not because I mean I don't eat an especially strict diet. I'm not somebody who like wants to adhere to some perfect diet or gets any satisfaction out of being a carnivore or being this, or I do that. I want it to be as easy as possible. I want it to fit realistically into just my life, and what I found actually does. Like I've maintained being as lean as I ever have been. With two little kids, busy life, trying to start a business, uh, busyness, all this stuff that should normally derail people, and I'm not having any trouble with leanness. The only reason I ever cut in the first place is just because I'm bulking and I'm trying to put on muscle. It'd be easy for, I mean, where I am right now, I mean, if I wasn't trying to bulk, I would probably be much leaner. Even just the fact that I'm trying to put on muscle each year, obviously, then you have to strip off the fat, right? But anyway, so I, I've been I've been kind of working on, and now I'm going to start like putting it more on the front burner. A little ebook detailing my strategies for all that, with the goal being to give you strategies to treat your fat loss like an investment, where you can put in some work on the front end, do some harder things on the front end. Part of that's going to be fasting. Part of that's going to be practicing these mental strategies to make it something that's almost easy. That's almost you almost don't have to think about. Because for me, again, like a early middle aged man with two kids, the fat loss is so much easier now than it was when I was 21. So I think that's powerful. That's cool. I'm not going to teach you how to get like bodybuilding shredded. That's not something I've ever done or care about. But I think I can definitely teach strategies to just make getting pretty lean, good level of leanness, abs, straight, muscularity, veins, all that good stuff. In, really easy, not unpleasant way. So I'm going to be working on that. You'll see more updates. In the meantime, I've already got other products for sale, but I've already pitched them to you guys. I'm seeing a lot of good feedback on my programs, both parking lot bodybuilding and Silver Space Marine. So pick whichever one sounds better to you and check it out. You can try the. I don't have that unfortunately on parking lot bodybuilding, but on Silver Space Marine, I do have a. There is a 7-day free trial option, so you can check it out, see if it is for you, and if not, no problem, right? All right, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I hope this helps. Let me know if you guys are interested in more fasting content, more lifting content, etc. I'll try to, tailor everything in that direction.